Well, good morning, YouTube. Julie and I, we took delivery of our brand new Model X last Saturday, and we were really surprised. It turns out that it's a 2021 Model X. It's a long range plus, and we had the opportunity to drive it back from Salt Lake, and my initial impressions are just wow, wow, wow. Everybody talks about just the little minor revisions that they've made, but over the course of the last 3 years, the revisions are really noticeable when you drive it. Well, the process of picking up the car was really pretty simple. We had a scheduled appointment. We showed up. The service advisor came out. Everybody was masked up. Took us to the car. We did a quick walk around. We exchanged keys because we were trading in our previous Model X. I looked for some defects and other issues, and then we pretty much just took off. Well, so far I'm really impressed with the way this car drives. It's just like a much better version of our previous car. The car starts up quicker, and I've also noticed another little nuance. I don't know what the explanation is for it, but when you plug the car in and you set the charge rate, say for example 85%, and overnight in my previous car, the car would drain down to say maybe 82 or 83%. This car just seems to stay right at whatever you set the charge rate at. And I don't know whether the new BMS just keeps it at that rate and adds more juice to it more often, or whether the car's electronics are just so much more efficient, or it has a better sleep state that it doesn't lose as much. Time will tell. But so far, it seems like there's been some really big improvements in the electronics of this car.
Wow, look at the white caps onto the shore here.
And even better news, it turns out it has a Revision H battery pack. And that was something that I was really hoping for. And what really came as a surprise to us is that on the EPA sticker, it's showing the range has 371 miles. My best guess is that there's some news coming. I think it's primarily just through efficiencies in the drivetrain and also in the electronics of the car. There is a possibility that there might be a little bit more energy available in the pack. Panasonic had talked about maybe a 5% increase just with a chemistry change. No format change in the 18650 cells. But we don't know. Tesla hasn't said anything, and there's no news site that's really had good information. I haven't charged the car to 100% yet, but I've charged it to 90%, and when I extrapolate it, the 90% to the miles, it turns out that 100% charge in my car right now is 351. There's a chance that Tesla may upgrade that range to 371, like it says on the EPA sticker, through a future firmware update. And as I understand it, Tesla did exactly that several months ago when they came out with the long range. People already had the batteries in their cars, and they were driving them around, and through a firmware update, they got additional miles. Well, one of the things I did with my car before we traded it in is I used the Tesla Navigator to calculate how much energy it would use with my battery to go to several various superchargers from my home. And I wanted to compare that to how much energy the new Tesla would use to go to the same locations. And the garage temperature is about the same, the outside temperature is about the same, and so that's going to be kind of a curious thing, and I'll show that to you right now. And I'm sitting right now in my 2017 X100D, and we'll start out with 90% here, and we'll see what Tesla predicts as far as how much energy we'll have left in the battery when we arrive. Okay, it's South Salt Lake City, and I'll tap it. We'll see how long it takes to calculate a route. Once again, we're at 90%, and we're on Wi-Fi. The new MCU is much faster in its calculation The new Model X will arrive with 23% left in its battery, and the old Model X will arrive with 9% left in its battery. Well, we've owned the car a full week now, and we've put about 500 miles on it. And I thought I'd just take a few minutes to talk about the changes I've noticed between our 2017 X and our brand new X. First and foremost, the styling has definitely changed, and I like this version much better. The wood trim is this real nice, almost walnut-looking ash, and the finish is sort of a satin finish. And previously, the car that I had sort of a black, shiny finish for a wood grain, and it was just susceptible to scratches and dust. I think this looks a little classier, and I think it's going to be a lot easier to maintain. My other car had the cloth seats, and this car has the faux leather. They've changed it a little bit. The headrests are no longer adjustable, but in the week we've owned this and driven it, these are very comfortable. No complaints there, and I think these will be easy to maintain. One of the biggest improvements is in the MCU2. Now, my previous car had an MCU1, and it had just gotten slower and slower and slower as Tesla pushed additional updates and added new features and software. It almost got to the point where it wasn't usable. Things such as the web browser on my old car wouldn't hardly even pull anything up. And with this new web browser, even on the cellular connection like I have here, which is 3G, which isn't particularly fast, it's completely usable. Everything else about it is great. When you're navigating, it calculates the route quicker. There's been several other changes, and one of the obvious ones is the changes in the suspension settings. But I've noticed in the driving menu, they no longer have the range mode, so I'm not sure what that's about. Obviously, they feel it's not needed with this particular version of the car. There's a lot of standard features now included with this model that weren't included in my 2017 X. And most notably are the heated steering wheel and the heated wipers. The rear seats are heated. And the bioweapons mode, which all those are really great features. The car also has premium audio, and I think it sounds great. They've also made some changes in the Falcon wing door here. It may just be my perception, but it seems to open up a lot quicker and much more smoothly than my other car. And also, they've made a change here in the door frame. I don't know if you can see this, but there's actually two pieces here. And this is the aluminum body. And this feels to be a plastic of some sort. And one of the issues I had with my other car was the door would rub on the door frame and it would wear the paint off. And I wonder if this is some kind of improvement that's just going to allow that not to happen. Only time will tell. One of the things that I've noticed is the gap between the back of the second row seat and the false floor here seems to be a little larger. And my best guess is that they've made these rear seats so that they'll recline just a few degrees further back. And there you can see what they look like when they're fully reclined. They've made some other changes. The back of this seat now is indented, and I think the thickness is a little bit less than the previous version. And the end result is just a little bit more legroom here. So here's something new that wasn't on my 2017 X. This is on the underside of the car. And this is some sort of a diffuser. It's maybe 3 inches in depth. And there's one on each side and a couple in the center. I assume this is for aerodynamics, maybe stability. Well, to sum it all up, I'm really happy we made the jump from the 2017 pre-Raven to the new 2021 Model X. There's just a lot of great little improvements that have occurred. It's really noticeable when you drive it. Overall, the car is just a better version of what we had before. If you watched my previous video, you'll know that my main reason for making the switch had to do with range. And for me, out here where there's very few superchargers and we have very long and cold winters, range is just about paramount over anything else. And with the latest update that Tesla has made to this car, 371 miles, it's a big leap over my pre-Raven Model X, which was EPA rated at 295. Oh, and by the way, if you're in the market for a new Tesla, you can use my referral code and you can get 1,000 free supercharger miles. And if you end up buying the Tesla, I'll get 1,000 free supercharger miles. That would make me happy. So until next time, be safe, be kind, and I'll see you in the next video.